Holy cow. I do have some opinions I've recorded, and I was going to upload them probably tomorrow, but I'm going to put that on the back burner because I'm going to be uploading this one. And I'll probably upload that probably Sunday, Monday, somewhere in there once I add a couple more things to it and once I'm happy with it. Because I do record stuff and then I delete it and then I talk about something else. So, I do have an opinion video planned for Sunday, but there's something I want to discuss that happened in the news, I don't know, in the last day or so. And what? Yeah, I'm going to stay away from the political side of it. As I said, that's my goal, and I've done pretty well with that. So, okay. As you all heard in Minneapolis or Minnesota or somewhere, that a woman was killed by ICE. Okay. Whether true or not, this is my problem with the news media. I have had problems with the news media for quite a few years. This is a thing I've noticed. I even noticed it a lot more around COVID time. That the news media and journalists and reporters, what have you, they're only there for one job only. Well, what does the cow? Okay, two jobs. One, of course, is the money because they're really probably overpaid as it is, unless you're a war correspondent and you're in the middle of a war. Okay, then maybe you're not overpaid, maybe you're underpaid. But this is the problem I have, that they're just there to report a story. That's all it is. And I remember when I was in college, I had a teacher. He said, just remember, the news media only reports what they want to report. A lot of what they report is not entirely accurate. A lot of what they report is not based on facts. It's based more on their opinion. See, this is the problem I have with the news media. It's not based on facts anymore. We completely have done away with that. That there used to be, when you were going to go to college to be a journalist or a news reporter or whatever, they always said, get the facts straight first before you report it. But we have completely went away with that. We don't do it on facts anymore. We just base it on opinions. Like what I do. I do, okay, all right, yes, I look at articles, but I try to back it up with facts by doing a little bit of research. So I do have an opinion on it, but I do have some facts based up on it. Not necessarily for the news media. And when I'm talking news media, I'm talking across the board. I'm talking local, I'm talking about state, I'm talking about CNN, I'm talking about Fox, MSNBC, what? Yeah, could say that. The whole enchilada. Because they're only there to base it on not facts, just opinions. And the thing is, if you watch too much news, and I have done this in the past, that your mind will start to play tricks on you and you will start to believe it. This happened during COVID, no question about it, because the news media knows one thing that we fear most is death. 99% of the population, there's a certain few, I'm one of them, that I'm not afraid of death because I know eventually it's going to happen. It happens to us all eventually. Some sooner rather than later, But it always eventually is going to happen to us. We're all going to meet our maker. There's no question about it. But the news media relies on that. They rely heavily on that. They focus a lot on death. You notice this? Mass shootings, ICE, making up their propaganda about that. That's another thing. That's another thing with the news media outlet. There's a lot of propaganda floating out there. Not all what you see on the news, just like the internet, not everything you see on the internet or the news is actually true. There's a lot of propaganda out there, and it's floating out there, and a lot of people will believe the propaganda more so than anything else. I'm from the generation that's not around anymore, that we actually thought for ourselves, and somebody would tell us something, we would sit and think about it before actually commenting on it, because we wanted more facts than anything else. But now people don't even want facts anymore. They don't even want facts. There's really it's actually out of control when you think about it with the news media. And I have a problem with this. I have a serious problem with this because this is mainly propaganda. It really is. Is it true? Probably not. But the news media wants you to believe it. You see, the news media could post a story like this right now as I'm speaking. They could say, hey, don't step outside. There's an epidemic of birds flying around overhead and shitting on everybody's heads, and you would die from that. So they rely on that fear. Death. George Carlin said it best. We have a fear of death in this country. We really do. And they don't even say the word die anymore on TV. They say pass away. George Carlin even said it. So I'm not trying to copy what George Carlin said, but we really do have a fear of death. And oh my God, during COVID, all the news stations across the board, across the world, and to other galaxies relied on that because people fear death. What's there to fear about death? Nothing. Everybody's going to have to face it sooner or later. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear with death. But we are so consumed with dying that we forget the news media relies on this more heavily than you realize. And people that watch the news 24/7 don't realize that they're playing into the news media's hands with this constantly. And it is tough when I'm trying to do my goal for the entire year is to not talk about politics. But it's tough. It is tough when you see on the news outlets, any news station, online or not online, that they do a lot of propaganda with whatever is out there. And another one they do is the flu outbreak. They haven't titled it an epidemic yet, but hey, it's coming. Give them time. They will tell everybody to mask up or you will die. Because, well, the fear factor. There's a lot of fear factor going on. And the news media knows this. They know this. Journalists are just out to make money, and there is no facts. They have no facts to back up anymore. They don't even care about the facts. They really don't. And I have serious issues with news stations because of this. And I wish we could get back to the old ways, where we would look at the facts to see what we're talking about ain't total bullshit. And that, my friend, is the problem with every news station in the world. Every one. They don't give a fine fuck about the facts. They base it on their opinions, and that's it. That is it. What if I never did research, and just did it based on my opinion? Would everybody think I'm full of shit? They probably already do think I'm full of shit, but at least I do research before talking about something. Whether it's my sports, whether it's my Why Did It Fail series, whatever I'm talking about, I do research and I have facts backing it up. The news media and all the outlets, they don't do this anymore. They haven't done this for years. When do I think this stopped being a thing? That is a good question. That is a question I'm pondering. It's somewhere between 9/11 and 2020. Somewhere around there, somewhere between 9/11 and when COVID happened. So somewhere in there, they said, screw the facts. Let's just say what we think. There's two sides to the story. There used to be, but there's not anymore. Now it's all based on their opinions, and that's it. They don't even interview people anymore. Have you noticed this? They don't even interview people anymore to get the other side of the story. What happened to interviewing? You don't see it anymore. It's totally gone. They instead of just saying, okay, this happened, here's what we think, here's the non-facts of it, and here's somebody we're going to interview to see what they think of the situation. They don't do this anymore. They haven't done that for years. There is no more interviewing. They used to do this with serial killers. They would interview the freaking neighbors. They used to do it with UFO sightings. Like, well, what did you see? We don't do this anymore. There's no more interviewing. What happened to the interview parts of it? And instead, we got to hear these damn journalists and newscasters and whatever else saying what they think when there's no facts backing up what the hell they're talking about. You know what? What, Mr. Cow? Yes. I could go on about this for a long, long time. Like Mr. Cow said, it's an endless debate. It's an endless debate on my opinions on it, and I do not like the way news channels are going. I really, really don't. They don't base anything on facts anymore. It's just their opinions of a fucked up situation, and that's pretty much it. I almost want to give every newscaster, when they start talking, I almost want to give them a Band-Aid so they can put it over their mouth, because if they were mumbling, you might understand, you might believe what they say, and they might have some facts that spew out of their mouth. But then again, probably not, because I don't know. They don't base it on facts anymore. And I keep saying that. I really do. It would be better off at this point. It would be better off at this point if they just started reading from a graphic novel on The Walking Dead, because then this would be more believable than anything else that they talk about on TV. This is more believable than anything newscasters or news reporters actually say. At this point, I'd rather listen to the weatherman or weatherwoman reporting on weather. The weather is becoming more accurate than any news channel out there. Holy fucking cow.
Me and Mom are saying that's all for now.
That's all for now.